Is this the worst set of champions in UFC history? It's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I don't want to be negative on this channel. But when you seriously look at it, you realize how bad the champions in every division are. You look at heavyweight. Our heavyweight champion John Jones has one title defense, the same as the interim champion, and he fights once a year. Super inactive, and he's holding up the entire heavyweight division. Won't fight Tom Aspinall, our light heavyweight champion, Margaret Ankalaev. He can't sell pay-per-views. He holds you against the fence. He's a bum. Our middleweight champion, he can't even throw the punch right. He just swings. He blitzes forward. Somehow doesn't get caught. Face plants to get a takedown. He sucks. Our welterweight champion, Bilal Muhammad. I love Bilal. The guy can't sell a pay-per-view to save his life. Our lightweight champion, Islam. He's great. Our featherweight champion, our featherweight division, I should say, our featherweight champion, we really don't have one since Elite Tapore is vacating the belt. And if Volk becomes champ, we'll have a champion who is not the best featherweight in the world. Our bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili, is a pretty boring fighter. And the UFC is pretty cooked right now, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Our women's bantamweight champion is Juliana Pena, and I think that in itself says a lot about the current state of the UFC. Before, even you look at the end of 2023. The end of 2023, we had people like Alexa Grasso as champion. We had people like Sean O'Malley as champion. You can argue you could say what you want to say about Sean O'Malley, but the guy had serious star power. Sean Strickland was also our champion. Whether or not he actually delivers in his fights, this guy could promote a fight. The guy knew how to sell a fight. The guy knew how to trash talk. Our light heavyweight champion at the end of 2023 was Pereira, obviously, and our welterweight champion was Leon Edwards. Our lightweight champion was still Islam. Our featherweight champion was Volkanovski, one of the most entertaining featherweights of all time, one of the best featherweights of all time. And I think even if you look back at 2023, it's still a pretty stacked champions. Half of these guys can't even sell a belt. Half of these guys, are they even really champions? I mean, John Jones hasn't fought Tom Aspinall. He's holding up that whole heavyweight division. Let's talk about that. I don't know how the UFC is allowing this man to hold up a division for so long. And just if this guy didn't have that light heavyweight career, he would have had vacated the belt a long time ago. The UFC would have forced him to. He's not active, and with Alex Pereira losing, unfortunately, we can't do Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira and forget about John Jones. But that sucks, and we'll go a little bit more in depth in every champion. Magomed Ankalaev, like I talked about it a little earlier, he's not terribly boring, but Pereira is just so much better. His activity, Pereira's activity is just peak, and we don't have a champion like Pereira anymore. Our middleweight champion, again, the guy can't throw a punch. I've never seen someone as bad as Dricus du Plessis and still be a champion. His parents really told Dricus, "You're never gonna be a champion ever, buddy. You suck." After that Derek Brunson fight, our welterweight champion Bilal Muhammad is a pretty boring fighter. I think Bilal's good. I rate Bilal, but the guy's not a really entertaining fighter. He holds you down for 5 rounds just like he did against Leon Edwards. Our lightweight champion, can't talk bad about him. Islam would like it if he was a little bit more active, but still. Our featherweight champion, we don't really have a champion in that division, and if Volkanovski does beat Diego Lopez, well then Volkanovski is obviously not the best featherweight in the world after getting knocked out by Elite Tapore. So it's just we're always gonna have that feeling when Volkanovski's champion. Oh, well, he's not the best in the world. Elite Tapore knocked him out. Our bantamweight champion, Merab, he's a cardio merchant. He's not very skilled. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's not that entertaining. He was in a really good fight with Umar, but before that, the guy was pretty boring. And our women's bantamweight champion, Juliana Pena, is a fraud. She fluked to win over Amanda Nunes, and now she's somehow the champion. I don't understand how she's a champion. The women's MMA shocks me, dude. I hate women's MMA so much. I'm sure the UFC does not want some of these guys as champion. I'm sure the UFC does not want Bilal Muhammad as champion. I'm sure the UFC does not want Magomed Ankalaev as their champion. So we'll start off with the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division, I feel like the ideal champion for the heavyweight division will be Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall loves to be active. It's been a little bit since he's fought, but that's not his fault. John Jones is avoiding him, and he doesn't have to defend his interim title any longer. So Tom Aspinall is the ideal champion, in my opinion, for heavyweight. He's a really active fighter. He has knockout power. He's entertaining as heck. Moving down to light heavyweight, obviously this one's pretty obvious. Alex Pereira should be the light heavyweight champion. This guy, he's one of the most active superstars, one of the biggest superstars in UFC history, I'd say. Defended the title 3 times in a year. Serious knockout power, super entertaining, always puts on good fights. And yeah, we move down to the middleweight division. I do think the ideal champion for middleweight is Khamzat Chimaev. He is some sort of like he has superpowers pretty much, dude. This guy's very promotable. Like Caucasus region, undefeated. Dricus du Plessis. I don't even know. Other than Africa, what does Dricus du Plessis have on anything? If Dricus du Plessis represented America, this guy would be literally an NPC. If this guy's lucky, he's South African, because other than that, other than his race, he has absolutely nothing special about him. Welterweight, I think for welterweight, I think the ideal champion would actually be Shavkat Rakhmonov. You look at Shavkat again; he's undefeated Caucasus fighter, and 19 fights, 18 finishes. Before that Ian Gary fight, he had a 100% finish rate. Shavkat's super easy to promote. They were doing a lot with that Ian Gary fight. Even if he wasn't fighting for a title, they were promoting the heck out of Shavkat like he was actually the main event instead of Pantoja Asakura, which is pretty crazy. Moving down to lightweight, the lightweight champion I do think is the right person, Islam Makhachev. Pretty much undefeated. The prodigy of Khabib Nurmagomedov, arguably one of the greatest of all time. Islam's making his way up. He's like top 5 of all time right now, and he's really underrated. I feel like people don't rate Islam like top 5, which he definitely should be. Featherweight, if it was Ilia Topuria, well then we would be in a good position, but it's not Ilia Topuria anymore. I mean, technically it's still Ilia Topuria until that Volkanovski Diego Lopez fight starts. But still, I think the ideal champion for featherweight would actually be Diego Lopez. Hear me out. Diego Lopez has pretty much all of Brazil and Mexico on his back. He's a fan favorite, and I know Volk's a fan favorite as well, but the guy's old. The UFC wants someone who can become a great in that division. I think Diego Lopez is young. He's hungry, and I think he would be the best fit for featherweight champion right now. Bantamweight, bantamweight's an interesting situation, but I'm still gonna go with Sean O'Malley for bantamweight. He is a pretty big star, one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Whether or not the UFC pushes that on us a little bit too much, Sean O'Malley is a freaking star, and you can't deny that. He's a superstar, and very promotable, knockout power. This guy's a beast. Moving down to flyweight, flyweight's another interesting division because there's not many fan favorites at this division. But I think I'm still just going to stick with Pantoja. I could go Brandon Moreno, and Brandon Moreno is obviously a fan favorite by Mexico, but he's been beaten by Pantoja 3 times, so it kind of sucks. Pantoja is active though. He's 3 title defenses already, and he's one of the best flyweights of all time, dude. I think he's right behind DJ. And yeah, man, that's my ideal champion for every division. That's me ranting about how we have the worst set of champions in UFC history. Thank you much for watching, and I'll have another video out tomorrow. Octagon Outpost out.